Good evening. The Planning Commission meeting of November 19th, 2025 is called to order. The Planning Commission meeting is being broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable, Channel 6, and AT&T UVerse, Channel 99. Meetings are also streamed live in high definition on the city's webpage, glendaleca.gov/live, on youtube.com/myglendale, and on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire devices using a free app called Cablecast and choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Meetings are also archived on the city website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. For public comment and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. Current Planning Commission agendas are available by visiting our website at www.glendaleca.gov. Can I have roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Fuentes?
Here.
Commissioner Malikian?
Present.
Commissioner Manassian?
Here.
Commissioner Nazarian? Absent. And Chair Chirachian?
Here.
Okay.
Next, we have reports regarding posting of the agenda. The agenda for the November 19th, 2025 regular meeting of the Glendale Planning Commission was posted on November 13th, 2025 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Agenda item 3, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Do we have any oral communications?
We do not.
Thank you. Do we have any board or commission member comments? I don't see any old business, so that brings us to new business. Item 234 South Brand Boulevard, Downtown Specific Plan, Downtown Arts and Entertainment District, Code Amendment Case Number PZC 0014-2025, and I believe we have a staff announcement.
Sure, yes. So this item will be continued to the December 12th Planning Commission hearing. It will be continued with a new notice, so occupants within 500 feet will receive a new public notice, and it will also be published in the paper. And again, that will be continued to December 12th with a new notice.
Thank you. We don't have any other new business items, so that brings us to written communications. I believe we have a statement on memorandum of understanding between the Department of Housing and Community Development and the City of Glendale, so I will pass it back to staff.
Thank you, Chair Chirachian and members of the Planning Commission. This item comes before you just as public notice, really, to the public. It's it is about a settlement agreement that we came to with the City of Glendale came to with HCD, the Housing and Community Development Department of the State of California, with respect to our ADU ordinance. And HCD was alleging a number of state law violations, and without admitting that there were any violations, the city has agreed to bring forth certain ADU amendments for vote by City Council by the end of March. And in the meantime, HCD is requiring us to enforce, or to not enforce actually, our ordinance with respect to 3 areas. One of them is our prohibition on ADUs above detached garages, our prohibition of having an ADU if you have an accessory living quarters, also known as a guest house, as well as the city's interpretation of how many ADUs and JADUs are allowed, also known as our unit mix interpretation of our ordinance. In the meantime, we're not enforcing our ordinance or more restrictive provisions on those 3 areas, and there'll be some amendments coming to City Council in March with respect to those specific 3 areas and other non-related cleanup items. And that's about it. And the public can get further information, I believe, on our website or call the Planning Department if they have questions.
Thank you. Will any of that be coming to Planning Commission?
Yes, it will come before you, before it goes, and I should have mentioned that. It comes to Planning Commission prior to going to City Council in March.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any Community Development Department updates?
Yes, we actually have our long-range planning staff here to provide you guys with an update on what they've been working on. So I'll turn it over to Villia and Teresa.
Yes, Chair Crockton, Planning Commissioners, thank you for having us. We're just going to give you a brief overview of what our long-range planning staff has been working on. With me is Teresa Santolina, the principal planner, and we also have Jackie Martinez, and she is out on vacation. So Teresa and I will be giving you a brief overview, starting with, actually, let's see, is it, oh, there we go. Okay, so we actually came before the Planning Commission in April to do an overview of our general plan elements and the status of our annual progress report. So this is just going to be a high-level, quick recap. As you know, that every city and county in the state of California has to have a general plan. It is made up of various topical elements that are geared toward a 20 to 30 year timeline horizon. And these elements for the city of Glendale include 10, air quality, community facilities, historic preservation, housing, land use, mobility and circulation, noise, open space and conservation, recreation and safety. Of these 10, the ones with asterisks are elements required by the state of California for all general plans. And this list does not include the environmental justice element that is being worked on and in progress today. So, in terms of the elements that our long-range planning team is actually working on, housing element, I should just note that it was certified by the state in 2023, so that is done. The 7th cycle will be coming up, and we will be starting work on the 7th cycle housing element in 2027 for an adoption date sometime in 2029. We actually had updates that were adopted for the safety element just this past spring in April of this year. We have a comprehensive update to the land use element and to our circulation element, which is now being renamed to mobility, underway right now. We have a new environmental justice element that's in process, and we just started working with the community services and park staff and their consultant regarding the open space and conservation element and the recreation element. So we have a number of elements that are being worked on as we speak. Now, the focused general plan update that staff has been working with De Novo for the last several years deals with comprehensive updates, as I mentioned, of the land use element, circulation element, and the new environmental justice element. The draft land use element was released for public review and comment on June the 30th, and the timeline was extended to meet and to go along with the mobility element that was released on August the 3rd. Comments are due by this Friday, November the 21st. So please note that we request comments, and we've received a number of them. I'm going to get into a little bit more detail later on within the PowerPoint presentation of where you can send your comments. The environmental justice element, that public comment period closed as scheduled back on August the 29th. And all information for these various general plan updates is available on the GlendalePlan.com website. Land use element, last comprehensively updated in 1986, 39 years ago, so it is well past due for an update. This includes land use element map and land use element plan, which again is the city's vision for future growth, development, and land preservation. The draft land use element out for public review includes new goals, new policies, and actions for various topics that include mix of land uses, the location of future growth, land use compatibility and urban design, economic development, and infrastructure planning. There is an updated land use element map as well, and again, this was released for public comment on June 30th. The new environmental justice element is required by the state of California whenever you amend 2 or more general plan elements. So since the city is updating its mobility element and land use element, we are now preparing a new environmental justice element. The goal is obviously to create more equitable and healthy and sustainable environments for all residents, regardless of their economic status or whatnot. It looks at the needs in communities affected most by environmental hazards. So you'll note the environmental justice community map primarily focuses on those census tracts, towards the southern part of the city. State required topics that are addressed in our environmental justice element include pollution exposure and air quality, public facilities, food access, safe and sanitary homes, physical activity, community engagement, and addressing the needs of environmental justice communities. And those would be the environmental justice communities highlighted in green, the census tracts on the screen. There was extensive public outreach that was described in the Appendix A of the environmental justice element, and the public comment period, as I noted, closed on August the 29th. Next up is the circulation element, last updated in 1998, so we're coming close to 30 years. The existing circulation element really focused on the safe and efficient multimodal, but more vehicularly geared movement on city streets. How can we get cars through our city streets? And so the new focus, as required by state law, looks at the multimodal. It looks at the transportation network for all users, and that would include bicyclists, pedestrians, public transit riders, and drivers, and so it's renamed the mobility element. It too includes goals, policies, and actions, and roadway classifications, and the updated maps and text address all of the required government code sections, including emergency response, good movement routes, and network improvements. The new mobility element has 7 new main goals. First off, complete streets. Then there's active transportation, walking and biking. We have public transit ridership, ride sharing and carpooling. Existing and future local and regional traffic demands, movement throughout the city and in the region, environmental health and air quality related to vehicular movement, addresses parking or what can possibly be required by the city in terms of parking, because we know that there's been quite a number of changes at the state legislation level that pretty much precludes required parking in certain high-quality transit districts. And last but not least, good movement. And this is specifically required by state legislation to look at truck routes throughout the city. So each of these goals have specific policies and actions to help implement and achieve those goals. The new street classification map and network map is pictured on the left. The current circulation map is on the right. The current circulation map addressed the freeways, major and minor arterials, which now have been modified to be major mobility thoroughfares, and there's various subclassifications we'll go into. We have now local collectors that were previously just urban collectors, and we still include 2 subclassification, well, I should say one subclassification would be the signature street overlay. So again, these are all color-coded and classification systems. I just want to point out that, I'm going to go back, apologies. The classifications that would include subclassifications for bicycle-oriented streets and public transit streets and bicycle and public transit streets, those are based on the current bicycle transportation plan. So the city at this point in time, as part of the mobility element, is not proposing any new bike lanes. These are all existing bike lanes that the city council and the city have looked at and reviewed as part of the 2012 bicycle transportation plan, and the The classifications also address the current transportation. So it builds on all of the other various mobility-related documents that the city has on file. Public outreach for these three elements has been rather extensive. The draft elements were promoted on obviously the GlendalePlan.com website. There were city banners on the city's website, on the main web pages. There was also advertisements and notices on Glendale GTV. We have sent numerous emails. I know some of you are actually on the email blast subscriber list to all of the GlendalePlan.com subscribers. So those are email blasts sent out to over 850 various community groups and individuals. It included posts on the social media platforms, both for the CDD website and the city's social media platforms, including Nextdoor and Instagram. It included press releases and publications in the paper, and there was actually a distribution on Peach Jar, which is the Glendale Unified School District's means of promoting various events and publications and announcements, which goes out to over 24,000 parents and teachers in the Glendale Unified School District. The draft land use element and environmental justice element was presented to City Council on July the 15th, right before, no, I apologize, 2 weeks after the land use element and the environmental justice element was released to the public. And this might sound familiar to you because it too was presented to you on August the 7th. Now, the draft mobility element, which we call, in terms of the LUE, which is what we refer to as the land use element, and EJ being the environmental justice element. The ME element would be obviously the mobility element. We presented a PowerPoint presentation to the Transportation and Parking Commission, since it is obviously related to mobility and circulation, and this was done on September 15th, and to City Council on October the 21st. City staff hosted close to 15 different community meetings with various groups over the last several months, and most recently this was a mobility element community meeting that was done in person on November the 3rd, and we also had a virtual community meeting on the mobility element on November the 10th. Staff also was very busy hosting a variety of booths at over 11 community outreach events, which included National Night Out, Montrose Harvest Market, Glendale Women's Equality Day at the Alex Theater, two presentations at the LA Riverwalk for their work days, the Walk by Glendale event at Verdugo Park, the Walk to School Day. We actually covered 3 different schools that day, so we hit 3 different schools. We were also that same day at the Coffee for the Cops event as well, representing the long-range planning projects. We were at the Montrose Oktoberfest, the Fremont Park Grand Reopening, the Glendale Police Department's open house and Touch a Truck event, and last but not least, the Fall Festival. So we were very, very busy on the weekends and the evenings the last several months. Now, the open space and conservation and recreation elements, this particular project is a joint effort with our community services and park staff. Joseph Gonzalez is actually the project manager for this particular update, simply because they are the ones that are handling this, given all of our other workload. They are working, and we are working with Olin, and we expect to have the updates prepared and adopted in 2027. Note that the open space and conservation element was last updated comprehensively in 1993. It deals, again, with open space. Now, this would be the maintenance and development of public open spaces, parks, natural resources, green spaces, and conservation, which obviously would be the preservation of natural resources, such as wildlife habitats and water resource, the Blue Line Stream specifically in advance. The recreation element last updated in 1996. And again, this deals with parks, recreation areas, and the recreational programming. So it would not just be the actual physical parks, but also the programming as well. We're happy to report that they actually have a survey that is available now for your feedback. Please take a look at Glendale Oscar, and that is the open space and conservation, what we call the Oscar for short. It'd be at glendaleoscr.com. That particular one, we're requesting feedback on parks and recreation programs that are working well today, what you'd like to do or what you'd like to see in terms of natural resources and conservation, and any new ideas or improvements that you would like to see in the future. So again, this survey is going to be open for a while, but we encourage you to take part and provide us feedback. There are 2 upcoming events. One is actually scheduled for tomorrow. So if anyone is available, please consider attending the in-person community meeting. This would be tomorrow, November 20th. It's located at Pacific Community Center and Park. It is from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., so we hope to see you there. If you are not able to make it in person tomorrow, there is another event scheduled for virtual attendance, and this would be on Monday, December the 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. And the link to sign up to register is bit.ly, so shorthand bit.ly /OSCR meeting MTG. So with that, I would like to turn this meeting over, or this presentation over, to Teresa Santolina, who is the project manager for the Verdugo Wash Master Plan.
Thank you, Vilia. Good evening, commissioners. So in addition to those numerous general plan element updates, we've also just this summer kicked off the Verdugo Wash Master Plan project. Commissioners may be aware that we have a 9.4 mile long tributary of the LA River right here in Glendale. We call that the Verdugo Wash. It spans from the very north end of Glendale at Crescenta Valley Regional Park and traverses down and meets with the confluence of the LA River just close to Griffith Park underneath the 134 freeway. This was channelized in 1937, actually over a period of years, by the the United States Army Corps of Engineers, to provide flood control after there was some heavy floods in the early 1930s here in the city. The wash is a total of 60 acres in size, and it actually connects through 18 Glendale neighborhoods and 5 existing open spaces within the city. And so this is actually a potential resource to create a linear park within the city and create more open space, active transportation, and maybe do some restored ecology, water quality improvements, and water infiltration projects. So it's an interesting opportunity. I've lost the... So this slide here is showing just the varying existing conditions that we have along the Verdugo Wash. So it starts from the very north and goes to the south, but you can see through all of these different photos that we have some areas where we have easement on both sides of the wash. We have other areas that are wider rather than narrower. We actually, in the debris basin, have a portion of the wash that already has a soft bottom. The wash then travels south through Oakmont Country Club, which is the only part of the wash that has those angled walls rather than the straight up and down walls. You may be familiar with Glorieta Park here in the city. The wash runs right directly through the center of the park and kind of divides that park right in half. As it goes south, it also travels through additional residential neighborhoods where we have homes directly on the wash and businesses as well. There's a portion of the wash that's already capped with a public park that's right in front of the Hilton Hotel on Glen Oaks. And then finally, it meets with the LA River at Confluence there in a more of an industrialized area of the city. So lots of different contexts that we're dealing with. So as you can see, we're breaking this project down and looking at each segment very specifically. So this master plan is anticipated to take place over 34 months. It kicked off in July, so we're about 4 months into the project right now. We are going to be looking for multimodal transportation opportunities and connectivity improvements, environmental sustainability, as well as interconnected ecologies. There will be market feasibility and cost estimates that are included as part of the master plan. We're proposing ongoing operations and maintenance plans. The wash is also going to develop its own branding identity so that it will be very visually identifiable by anybody who's interested in this project. It also will include a public art package that's aimed to both educate about the history and cultural significance of the wash, as well as environmental education along the way. And then it also presents a lot of opportunities for partnerships, not only with surrounding jurisdictions, but also with LA County Flood Control, Army Corps of Engineers. And we are conducting significant community outreach as part of this project as well. Getting into that, we actually just last week had our first meeting with our project development committee. That's a group of stakeholders representing different community organizations that's going to help guide our public outreach efforts. We will plan to release a survey and have additional public outreach meetings that the PDC will be able to inform on those. And we are anticipating potentially our first outreach meeting in early 2026. So please stay tuned. We're hoping to engage the entire Glendale community on this project. And so if you'd like to stay involved with any of these ongoing projects, we have some resources here for you. All of the elements of our general plan that are being updated can be found at glendaleplan.com. We also here have links if you would like to provide public comments on the land use element or mobility element. Those are due by Friday, the 21st. You can access those to a comment sheet directly or email us at glendaleplan@glendaleca.gov. We also have a dedicated Verdugo Wash website that is going to be updated, launching in the very near future. At both glendaleplan.com and at verdugowash.com, you can also sign up to be a subscriber on any of these projects. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions that the commission may have on any of these projects.
Thank you very much to staff for a detailed presentation. Do we have any questions at this point in time?
No.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Adjourn.
That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, we should have said that.